want to step you into the Wayback Machine, back to the 1980s. Back in the 1980s, there was a fellow by the name of Harry Helmsley who died and left his hotel fortune, his New York real estate fortune, to his wife, Leona. And who was, I believe, as I recall, several decades younger than him. But herself, I mean, at this point, she was in her probably 60s. And one of her employees got upset with her and turned her in for tax evasion. Flipped her to the feds. And it turned out that she had avoided paying taxes to the tune of around 1.7, as I recall, $1 million. Right? $1 million. And when she was interviewed about this on television, hey, you're being indicted for tax fraud and you might even go to jail. I mean, this is serious stuff. Her response was, we don't pay taxes, only the little people pay taxes. That's the verbatim quote from Leona Helmsley. Everybody called her the Queen of Mean. Of course, this was in the Reagan era. And so nobody actually expected her to go to jail or anything. I mean, it just kind of became that, and greed is good, kind of became the mantras of the 1980s. Only the little people pay taxes and greed is good. She ended up going to prison. She was facing 12 years in jail for evading just a little short of $2 million in taxes. She spent 19 months in jail, Leona Helmsley, and 2 years on home arrest. And the judge at her sentencing, and Dave Johnson wrote a great piece about this over at, he's a fellow with the Campaign for America's Future over at Huffington Post today. The judge said, there is a community that needs to be served by the enforcement of the law. It is my judgment the motion for sentence reduction should be denied. In other words, she was asking for, not going to jail. She just wanted to have her wrists slapped and, stay at home. He went on to say Helmsley's conduct had been deliberate, fraudulent, directed against the United States government, and involved evasion of taxes. So that was 40 years ago. Hotel queen Leona Helmsley spends, almost 2 years in jail for avoiding taxes on $1.7 million. Apple right now is sitting on nearly $200 billion, specifically $181 billion, which represents a $59 billion tax liability. Now, keep in mind, Leona Helmsley went to jail for years, for over a year, and including the home probation, it was like almost a 4-year sentence, for avoiding paying taxes on $1.7 million. $1 million 1,000 times is $1 billion. Apple is avoiding paying taxes right now as we speak on $59 billion of taxes on $181 billion in income. And Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, in an interview with the Washington Post earlier this month, is quoted by Dave Johnson on Huffington Post. Tim Cook said, a variation on Leona Helmsley, only the little people pay taxes. Only the companies that are stupid enough just to do business in the United States and not have their tax systems rigged all over the world pay taxes. I mean, his actual words were, and I quote, and when we bring it back, see, this money is parked overseas, which is why they're able there. And there's this thing called the deferred tax loophole that Ron Wyden was going off on. I'll share with you that in just a minute. But so anyhow, they got their money stashed overseas. He says, and when we bring it back, we will pay 35% federal tax and then a weighted average across the states, which we're in, which is about 5%. So think of it as 40%. And we've said at 40%, we're not going to bring it back until there's a fair rate. There's no debate about it. So I guess what Leona Helmsley should have said was, that money that I owe taxes on, that profit that I owe taxes on, that's actually in a Swiss bank account. And I'm not going to pay taxes until you decide to lower my tax rate. Or it's like my saying, or your saying, You know, I don't like the tax rate that I pay. So I think I'm just going to wait until the government reduces the tax rate, and then I'll pay my taxes. This is what the CEO of Apple just said, in essence. And it's not just Apple. It's probably half the companies in the Fortune 500, maybe more than that. Transnational corporations have gotten really, really good at stashing their money overseas, and they do it by stashing their profits overseas. If I had a company that was manufacturing, say, blue jeans in, say, Nicaragua, or let's actually put it in Panama, because Panama has, very, very good laws to protect people who have secret bank accounts. So I've got, I'm making blue jeans in Panama. I'm selling them in the United States. It costs me, say, $5 to manufacture the blue jeans, a pair of blue jeans in Panama, and I retail them in the United States for, let's say, $50. And so I'm making and in this pretend scenario, I'm selling direct to customers. So I'm making a $45 profit. Apple sells direct to customers. So all I have to do is make my Panamanian company a separate corporation, but a division of my American company. So my American company, Thom's Blue Jeans, is buying blue jeans from Thom's Panama blue jeans manufacturer. Now, it cost me $5 to make those blue jeans in Panama, and I sell them here for $50. So I could sell them to myself for $5, the actual cost of manufacturing them, and then make my $45 profit here in the United States, but then I'd have to pay taxes on that $45. So instead, what I do is I sell my blue jeans to myself that I'm going to sell for $50. It cost me $5 to make. I sell them. I have my Panamanian company sell them to my American company. I sell them to myself for, say, $49. And then I retail them for $50. So instead of showing a $45 profit on every pair of jeans here in the United States that I sell, I show a $1 profit, and all my profits stays in my Panamanian company. And I just stick it in one of these secret bank accounts, or even a not-so-secret bank account, because this is all legal. These are the holes that have been drilled into our tax code by corporate lobbyists. And I don't have to pay any taxes on that money that's in Panama, because I didn't make it in the United States. Even though all the sales were in the United States, it was you and me and everybody else who wears blue jeans who made me that money in this, mythical scenario. How is this right? This is just, this is just so fundamentally wrong. Why is America not? We're talking in the case, we're talking tens of billions, probably hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes that could support things like paying off all the student debt in the United States. We're talking about tens of billions of dollars here. Or, providing kids with free college education, or creating a national health care system, or rebuilding our infrastructure, rather than simply buying another yacht for another billionaire.